And so I will just very quickly browse through, and I'll leave the notes with you all. Okay. Very quickly on the initial words. The initial words I just want to point out here: impurity, joy, impermanence, and self. This all relate to the four inverted views. Okay. So if you understand this thing, that we take purity in impurity, we take joy in suffering, and we take permanence in impermanent, and non-self in self. This are the inverted views, and so therefore you must have the right thinking. So in this master's explanation, which relates to the four, which I won't have time to run through, so I'll leave these notes with you. So in master's guidance, we need to reflect and reform our mind and realize the true impermanence. And what is this true greater self that we have, which is actually what you call the non-self, which I actually have shared with you all in the past. So the problem is that most of us, I think a lot of times when we, because we're householders, we often face with this condition and situation of the four inverted views, and we cling on to this unconditioned phenomena, conditioned phenomena, which is the state that we are in, and this conditioned phenomena, which really we regard it as a real existence. So the difference between real existence and true existence. Real existence is what you see by our six consciousnesses with the skandhas. And the one master trying to say, if you want to have the right, the mind that in practice, then we must realize the emptiness of that existence, or the emptiness of those skandhas. So if we do, then we will no longer, our mind no longer flutters. Okay, the two principles are then permanent, and you will realize that. So, unlike the four inverted views, if we then really understand the truth of those 4 points, then we say the true principles are actually permanent; it doesn't change. So in that tranquil and clear state is joyful, and that's the real. That is called the sometimes being referred to as eternal bliss. But that blissfulness is not attaching to anything. So, and it's the nirvana is referred to land of calm illumination, and in fact, the grounds of progress as a bodhisattva. We will go through the progress of development, and one of which the development is the illumination. So very quickly, just rush on, then the body and the self, that we use the body as the self for us to practice and reflect on the fact that the body is impure, which all the sisters already shared before already. So I won't run through this slide at all. So the narrow and the small door in the master's explanation, and this is, I think, more for me, I think here is more for information. There's a narrow and small door, and I give the analogy in the past few days to say that because we have a lot of attachment in us, and how can we squeeze through the door with all these baggages with us? So Master's analogy in this video recording referring to the two vehicle practitioners, which is the Prajika Buddhas and the hearers. And to them, they take the door as small and narrow because they already know what they already know. They said there's already enough. So they believe, therefore, the two practitioners believe they are already pure, so there's no necessity. And this is what Master is trying to explain to us from that context. Why the door is small and narrow. Right, very quickly now, the lessons learned. Understand the mind consciousness on the mundane life. Such is the mundane consciousness that's anchored in the worldly ways, that is swayed by worldly winds. So, and especially for us, so we've got to be very mindful because we are householders in practice. So we do live in the mundane world. And the mundane world is all anchored in worldly ways. And that is the part that when the wind blows on us, that is the one that inside us. And we got to be very mindful, be aware of our inner self. So the body is a vessel of practice. in this life, but realizes impurity and impermanence. And sometimes in the spur of the moment, we do not realize this. And in the spur of the worldly winds, we do not realize this. So this is really about growing our consciousness in the practice. And so that we have that consciousness of external cultivation, internal cultivation, which the internal cultivation is that our awareness of our inner self. The inner self manifests from your thoughts, and our outer self, especially in your disposition, your conduct, and your demeanor. And so therefore, it is our practice, therefore, to actually change our conduct. So in impurity, how do we then look at these things? We purify our thoughts. In suffering, instead, we should learn from the suffering in this life that we have, that you understand the Dharma, so that when we can the Dharma join in our practice, which is what Master is trying to say. And the impermanence, therefore, if we regard this life as only this life that we have, then it'll be a wrong view. So therefore, in our practice, we got to practice from the context of going into the mind continuum. And this mind continuum is beginningless beginning and endless ending. The non-self, this is what was self-realization. And that what is this self-realization about? Is having the right understanding, the liberation. So in very quickly, and in the contemplation, every thought has a reflection. Every word has a meaning. So we need to realize that when we listen to Dharma, or even read what is given in Master's writing, you really got to look deep into that and reflect and contemplate. And every deed has an effect, just as every cause has an effect. And every moment has a learning. So therefore, on relationship, also a very short one. Watch your words, for they are a reflection of your thoughts. And this very often in relationship, whether with the close ones or loved ones or with friends. So watch the thoughts, for they are manifestation of your mind. Okay, with that note. Okay, watch your mind, for it's an emanation of your intention. So watch your intention, for it's a flow of your understanding of life. So the last one, what is flow understanding of life, is a life becomings. And this is how you're going to deal with this life becomings that you have. And that's where the real practice is. Okay, with that, okay, brothers and sisters, thank you so much.
Gan En so much, Brother Chin. Okay, can we take a quick